what is the bond price? So again, since it's a coupon bond, we directly use our financial calculator. Okay, so the N would equal to 10 multiplied by 2 equal to 20, right? The interest rate would equal 11.1 divided by 2 equal to 5.55, right? And our period of payment would equal to face value was 1,000 multiplied by the coupon rate 8% divided by 2 would equal to 40. Face value, again, face value is always given information 1,000. So if you already know the information of 4 buttons out of 5, then you can easily calculate the rest one, what is the present value. So the present value would equal to negative 815.54. So the correct answer should be B, right? Okay, so final question. Good. All right. Question 10. Again, we have a similar company with a face value equal to 1,000, reach maturity in 5 years. The bond certificate tells us the coupon rate equal 8.1%, and it will be paid semi-annually. Given the year to maturity equal 10.6% APR, the question asks us whether the bond is traded at a premium or traded at a discount or traded at par. So for this question, we can simply directly compare the year to maturity and the coupon rate. If the year to maturity is larger than the coupon rate, then this bond is treated at discount, okay? Treated at discount. If it's larger than, if this year to maturity is smaller than the coupon rate, then it's treated at premium. If it's equal, then treated at par. Right? So let's compare the year to maturity and coupon rate in this case. Year to maturity equals to 10.6% given information. Coupon rate equal to 8.1% given information. So year to maturity is larger than the coupon rate, then this bond should treat at discount. Right? So the correct answer should be B. Okay. Also, you can calculate the bond price, then compare the bond price to its face value to determine whether it's traded at a premium, traded at a discount, or traded at par. But this is, I think, the simplest way, and it can save you a lot of time in your exam if you remember this relationship. Okay. Question 11. A stock is bought for $23 and sold for $27 a year later. Immediately after it's paid a dividend equal to $1.5. The question asks, what is the dividend? What is the capital gain rate for this transaction? So the capital gain simply equals to the selling price minus the purchasing price divided by the purchasing price. The purchasing price, right? We already know that this bond is sell at $27, right? And this bond, this stock is purchased at $23, right? So all those actually is giving information. So simply calculate this one, and you can find out it will equal 0.1739. So the correct answer should be D. Okay. So in this question, as long as you know what is capital gain rate, then the calculation is simple, right? So this is question 11. Question 12. So a company is expected to pay $0.8 dividends at the end of the coming year, and is expected to sell for 16 at the end of the year. If the equity cost of capital equal to 12%, the question asks us what is the current stock price. Again, the stock price would equal to the present value of all its future cash flows, right? In this case, we only have 2 cash flows in 1 year, right? The first cash flow is the dividend. The second cash flow is the selling price, right? It's the selling. It's the cash flow from you sell this stock, right? And we simply discount these future cash flows by dividing 1 plus R. The discount rate equal to 12% with a power of 1 because there's only one time period. Okay, so by doing that, you can easily calculate the stock price should equal to $15. So the correct answer should be D. Okay. So far, any question? Good. Okay, let's move on. Question 13. Now we have a company had a stock price at the start of the year equal to $26.1, paid a dividend equal to 0.59 at the end of the year, and had a share price equal to $29.5 at the end of the year. So the question asks us, what is the following is closest to the return, the rate of the return of the investment in the company with equal risk level to this company for the time period? So we use this one, the equity cost of capital, to capture the risk level. So as long as we can figure out the rate of return for this company, then we can use this one to measure another investment with a similar risk level, right? With a similar risk level in the same time period. So the question is simply asking us, what is the rate of return for the investment in this company, right? And we have a formula to calculate this one. The IE would simply equals to the dividend plus the selling price divided by the purchase price minus 1. Okay, so we simply plug all the number in. So the dividend equals $0.59, right? And P1 would equal to $29.5, and P0 would equal to 26.1, and then minus 1. Okay, simply calculate this one. The IE would equal to 0.15287. Okay, so the correct answer should be D. Should be D. Okay. Question 14. No growth industries presently pays an annual dividend equal to $1.2 per share, and it's expected that this dividend payment will continue indefinitely. So whenever you see a word something like forever, indefinitely, you should connect this question to perpetuity. Okay. If this company's equity cost of capital equal to 10%, the question asks us, what is the stock price? What's the share value for this company? Again, we connect this question to perpetuity. The price was simply equal to the present value of all the future cash flow generated by the stock, right? And we have a formula to calculate the present value for our perpetuity, right? We simply use the first dividend or first cash flow divided by the difference between the discount rate and the growth rate. Okay, so the dividend would equal to 1.2, and our discount rate equal to 10%. So for this question, there's no growth rate, or the growth rate equal to 0. So we can simply end here. It will equal to $12. Okay, so this G actually equal to 0. We can also put it like this way: dividend divided by the discount rate. Okay, equal to $12. So the correct answer is D. So final question. Okay, good. So the question 15, the GRN Enterprises just announced its plan to cut its dividend from $3 to $1.5 per share and use the extra funds to expand its operation. Before this announcement, GRN's dividends were expected to grow indefinitely at 4% per share, and its stock price would equal to the stock price equal to 25.5 per share. With this new expansion, GRN's dividends expected to grow at 8% per year indefinitely. Assume this company's risk level will not change by the expansion. The question asks us, what is the stock price for this company after the announcement? So as we can say, after the announcement, the growth rate will equal to 80% and it will grow indefinitely. As long as you find the word indefinitely, you should connect this with perpetuity, right? And we have a perpetuity formula to calculate the stock price. The stock price simply equals to the first dividend divided by the difference between the discount rate and the growth rate. We already know after announcement, the dividend will reduce to $1.5, right? But we didn't know the RE, we didn't know the discount rate, okay? But we know the growth rate equal to 8%. So to calculate the stock price after announcement, we really need to figure out what is this RE, right? We really need to figure out what is the RE. And as I previously indicated, RE, we use RE to capture the risk level for that company, okay? And here it says that this company's risk level will not change by this expansion, which means before the announcement, after the announcement, the RE will not change, right? So as long as we can figure out the RE before the announcement, then we can simply borrow this RE to use that, to use this in this calculation, right? So let's figure out what is the RE before the announcement. So before the announcement, it also says that the dividend will grow at constant growth rate equal to 4%, grow indefinitely, right? So again, we can use this formula to figure out the stock price before the announcement, okay? We know that the stock price before the announcement actually equal to $25.5, right? $25.5, we already know that it's giving information. And we also know the dividend before the announcement is $3. It's also giving information. But we don't know the IE, but we know the growth rate is 4%. It's also giving information. So with this equation, actually, you can calculate what is IE, right? What is IE? What is the equity cost of capital? So we can solve this equation, and you can find the IE would equal to 0.1577. Okay. So since we already figured out the IE before the announcement, okay, so this is the before the announcement, and this is the after announcement, right? But it already tells us that the risk level will not change. So the IE here is similar to the IE here, right? So you simply plug this IE here equal to 0.1577 minus 8%, 0.08, okay? Simply solve this one, and you can figure out what is the stock price after the announcement. Actually, after the announcement, it will equal to $19.32, okay? So the correct answer is A. The correct answer is A. Any question? Good, okay. Question 16. We expect the B enterprises will have earnings per share equal to $2 for the coming year, and this company plans to retain all its earnings for the next 3 years, and for the subsequent 2 years, this company plans on retaining half of its earnings. It will then retain only 25% of its earnings from the point forward. the retained earnings will be reinvested in the project with an expected return equal to 20% per year. Given the equity cost of capital equal to 10%, the question asks us, what is the stock price? So to calculate the stock price, we need to first figure out what is the cash flow can be generated by this stock, right? So in this case, we assume we will hold this company, the stock, the company's stock forever. So the cash flow we would have is the dividend it paid, right? So to solve what is the stock price, we need to first figure out the dividend. Okay, so let's reorganize all the information here. Reorganize it. We have year here. We have year. And let me put it smaller. We have year. We have year. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, and lasts forever. Okay. And based on the information given, we can first calculate the dividend growth rate or the earnings growth rate. Is simply equal to the rotation rate multiplied by the return from the new investment. Okay. So the growth rate, change the color. How about change this one? The growth rate in year 1 would simply equals to the rotation rate in year 1. It would equal to 1, right? Because this company from the beginning, in 3 years, it will not pay any dividends. So it will retain 100% of its earnings. So the rotation rate would equal to 1. And the return for the new investment equal to 20%. Okay. So in year 1, the growth rate equal to 20%. Right? Similar thing for year 2, year 3. Okay. But from year 4, things are different. Since from year 4, this company would only retain half of its earnings. So the rotation rate would equal to 50%, right? And the return on the new investment didn't change, still 20%. So the growth rate in year 4 would equal to 10%. Okay, similar thing for year 5, 10%. But again, things changed in year 6. In year 6, from year 6, the rotation rate reduced to 25%. It will only retain 25% of its earnings for reinvestment. Okay. So the rotation rate would equal 25% multiplied by the return from the new investment, still 20%. So this would equal to 5%. Okay. Then 5%, 5% forever. Okay. So this growth rate is the earnings growth rate. If we already know the earnings growth rate, then we can calculate earnings for each time period. Since we already know the earnings in year 1 equal to $2, right? Given the growth rate for earnings equal to 20% in year 1, then we can figure out the earnings in year 2 would simply equals to $2 multiplied by 1 plus 20%. Okay, so it would equal to 2.4. So $2.4 is the earnings per share in year 2. We can use a similar way to calculate the earnings per share in year 3. So it would equal to the previous year's earnings multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate, 20%. And this will give us the earnings in year 3 would equal to 2.88. We can repeat this calculation process for later years. In year 4, it would equal 3.46. In year 5, it would equal to 3.80. In year 6, it will equal to 4.18 and last forever. Okay, so this is earnings per share for each year. And we know that the firm can use earnings for 2 purposes. One is you can simply retain the earnings for reinvestment. The second purpose or second use for earnings is simply pay as dividend, right? In this case, we already know the rotation rate, then we can easily figure out what is the dividend payout rate. the dividend payout rate simply equals to 1 minus the rotation rate, right? 1 minus the rotation rate. So in the first 3 years, actually there's no dividends. In first 3 years, actually there's no dividend. Year 1, no dividend. Year 2, no dividend. Year 3, no dividend. From year 4, this company will pay half dividends, right? Half of the earnings as dividends. So half of it would equal to how much? 1.73, right? Half of this earnings would equal to 1.9, right? Half of this one would equal to 3.14, right? And last forever. So this one actually is the cash flow the investors would receive, right? And this is a cash flow we need to use to calculate the stock price. But if you look at here, after year 5, from here, the dividend growth, the dividend actually grow at a constant rate equals to 5%. So from year 5, the dividend pattern actually is a growing perpetuity. So we can first take care of this part, the cash flow after year 5, okay, and convert the value of the cash flow after year 5 into year 5's value, okay. Then we can calculate PV5, the value in year 5, but it's simply equal to the first dividend. Actually, it's a dividend in year 6, right? Divided by the difference between the discount rate and the growth rate. So the dividend in year 6 would equal to 3.14, right? And the discount rate equal to 10%, and the growth rate equal to 5%. We have calculated that. So it would equal to 62.8, which means later on, for all the cash flows after year 5, if we convert the value of those cash flow into year 5's value, it would equal to this amount. Okay. Now we can convert the question into cash flow like this. Okay, the 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. From the beginning, no cash flow, because from the beginning we do not receive any dividends. Right. In year 4, actually we receive $1.73 this amount dividends, and in year 5, we receive $1.9 this amount dividend, and we also need to plus this 62.8 because we convert all the future cash flow into year 5's value. Okay, so is this year 5's value? So to calculate the stock price is simply calculate the present value of this cash flow. So we can simply discount it. The stock price is simply equal to the present value of those cash flows. Discounted. The discount rate equal to 10% with the power of 4 plus 1.9 62.8 divided by it's kind of small, 1.10% with a power of 5, right? With a power of 5. With a power of 5. Okay? So simply calculate this one, you can find out the stock price actually equal to $41.36. Okay? So far, any question?
I was wondering, for year 6, how did we get 3.14 if it's half of 4.18?
Divided by 2.
So 4.18 divided by 2?
Oh, let me check. No, excuse me, it's not divided by 2. Here's a correction. It's not divided by 2 in this case, because in from year 6. Let me use a different color. How about it's no longer divided by 2. Okay, so for this part, let's move here. It's not divided by 2, excuse me. I made a mistake here. It's 4.18 multiplied by, actually it's 0.75. Okay, because this company only retained 25% of its earnings for reinvestment and pay 75% this amount as dividend. Okay, it's no longer divided by 2. So here's a correction. No longer divided by 2. Okay, multiplied by 75% should be. Let me use a 75%. Okay, then it would equal to 3.14. Okay. Do you know why we can get 75%? Because the dividend payout rate is 75%. Okay. Any other questions? Good. Okay, so let's move on. So the correct answer should be C. Okay, the correct answer should be C. All right, question 14. Excuse me, 17. 17. We have a company has 213 million share outstanding and expects earnings at the end of the year equal to 800 million. It will pay out 40% of its earnings in total. If the company's earnings are expected to grow by 7% per year, and the payout rate would not change. Given the equity cost of capital equal to 9%, the question asks us, what is the share price? So this question, we need to use the total payout model. We first calculate the total equity value. Okay, total equity value. It will equal to the total earnings, $800 million multiplied by the payout rate equal to 40%. Okay, 40%. And this total dividend or the total payout will grow at a constant rate equals to 7%, right? So we use the 9% minus the growth rate 7%. By doing that, we can easily calculate the total equity value equal to 16,000 million US dollars. So this 16,000 million US dollars is the total equity value. Okay, it's the total equity value. But the stock price is the value per share, right? So to calculate the stock price, we need to use the total equity value. I don't need to do that. I need to use this total equity value, 16,000 million divided by the number of shares outstanding. Okay, it's giving information 213 million, right? 213 million. By doing that, you can calculate the stock price actually equal to 75.12. So the correct answer is D. Okay, so this is a total payout model. Question 18. A car dealer offers a car for 14,000. What?
What was the answer again?
The answer is D. D. Okay, the correct answer for 17 is D. Right. Question 18. A car dealership offers a car for 14,000 with up to 1 year to pay for the car with 0 interest. If the market interest rate equal to 5%, the question asks us, what is the net present value for this offer to buyers who wait for 1 year to pay instead of paying immediately? So in this case, we can draw a timeline, a very simple timeline, today and in 1 year, right? We have two options. The option 1 is you pay today. Option 2 is you pay the same amount in 1 year. The question asks, what is the value difference, right? So the present value for the option 1 will simply equal to 14,000, right? The present value for option 2, we need to convert 14,000 in year 1 into today's value, right? We need to do this conversion, then simply discount it. The interest rate is 5%, the part 1. So you'll find the present value for option 2 would equal to 13,333 and 0.33 and 3 lasts forever. Okay, so the net present value simply is the difference between 14,000, right? Actually, I should circle here 14,000 and this 13,333, right? So the correct answer is A. Okay, so this is a comparatively simple question. Question 19. We have a project with the following cash flows. Assume the discount rate for this project is 13%. The payback period for this project. So for the payback rule, we don't need to consider the time value money effect, which means this information actually is redundant. Okay, so we don't need this 13%. So to calculate the payback period, we simply use 12,000 divided by 5,000, and you can find out you would need use 2.4 years to collect all your initial investment back. Okay, so the correct answer is B. Okay, so this question is also simple. Question 20. An investor has the opportunity to invest in 4 new retail stores, and the amount that can be invested in each store, along with the expected cash flow at the end of the first year, and also the growth rate of the concern and the cost of capital is shown in each case. So for A, B, C, D is for investment, we have those the related information. Assume each investor will operate in perpetuity. Again, if it's a perpetuity, then we can use the perpetuity formula to calculate the present value, right? So the question asks, which investment should we choose? So since we have 4 investments, we can simply compare their NPV and pick the one with the highest NPV. Okay, so since this 4 investment, they have the similar patterns, I will only do one. Okay, how about we do A, option A. We do this one to calculate the NPV for A. So the NPV would simply equals to the present value. The present value of the benefit minus the present value of the cost. Okay. In this case, we have the first benefit cash flow from year 1 would equal to 12,000. Right, will equal to 12,000. And this cash flow will grow at a constant growth rate equal to 1.25%. And this cash flow will last forever. So this is a typical growing perpetuity case, right? So after we find that, we can easily calculate the present value for the benefit cash flows. It will simply equal to our first benefit cash flow, 12,000, divided by the difference between the discount rate, 9.1%, minus the growth rate, 1.25%. So this is the net present. This is the present value for benefit, and we still need to minus the present value for our cost. The present value for our cost is simple. It's simply the initial number, $100,000, right? So by doing that, you can calculate the net present value for project A would equal to 52,866. Okay, so this is the present value for project A. Okay, I will let you know the present value for project B would equal to 33,205. For project C as 48,000. For project D, 67,660. Okay, so we compare this four number and pick the highest one, right? As we can say, project D, investment D, actually has the highest NPV, so we choose D. Okay, we choose D. So far, any question? Good. All right, let's move on. 21. So we have two projects, and they're mutually exclusive. So if it's a case of mutually exclusive, we need to use the MPV rule. Okay, we need to use the MPV rule, so we can immediately exclude option B, and also we can exclude option D, because this simply MPV is larger than 0 cannot help us make the decision. We need to compare the MPV for project A, and we need with the MPV for project B, right? So in this case, we simply calculate the MPV for each project. So I will not repeat here. The MPV for project A would equal to MPV for project A would equal to 20.49. MPV for project B would equal to 20.07. As we can see, the MPV for project A is larger than the MPV for project B, right? So that's why we should invest in project A. So the correct answer is A. Okay. All right, let's move on. Question 22. Question 22. So we have a companies considering two brands of industry vacuum cleaners to equip their staff. Option A will cost $1,500 and require service fee $200 per year, and it will last for 5 years. Option B, it will cost the initial cost is $1,000 and the later service fee is $100 per year, and it will only last for 3 years. Given the cost of capital equal to 8%, the question asks us which one we should choose. In this case, as we can say, these two options actually have different lives. One is 5 years and one is 3 years. And then we need to compare the equivalent annual annuity. And we need to compare the equivalent annual annuity. So let's calculate the equivalent annual annuity for option A. Okay, so the calculation for option B will be exactly similar to the calculation of option A. Okay, so let's only do one calculation for option A. For option A, we have a cash flow like this. 5 years from the beginning, it has initial cost 1,500. Later on has 200, 200, 200, 200, and 200 service fees. Okay. So to calculate the equivalent annual annuity, when you first calculate the present value or net present value of this cash flow, it will simply equals to how much was that? It will simply equal to negative 2,298.54. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need equally distribute this amount cost into each years, into 5 years, right? We need to distribute this cost into 5 years. How we can do that? We simply use the time value of money function. The n would equal to 5, okay? N would equal to 5 because we have 5 years. The interest rate is given information 8%. So put 8 here. The present value actually is the cost actually should equal to 2,298.54. PR payment is what we want, right? And future value is 0. So after you put all those information in your financial calculator, you can calculate your annual cost. Your annual cost PR payments for option A actually equal to negative 575.68. So this is the annual cost for option A. We can use a exactly similar way to calculate the annual cost for option B. It equals to negative 488.03. Okay, and we compare the annual cost between these two options. As we can see, actually the cost is lower for option B. That's why we should choose option B, because it has greater equivalent annual annuity. So the correct answer is D. Okay. Any question?
How did you get the MPV value again? Is it the prior formula?
You can use the formula, or you can use the financial calculator to calculate the MPV for the cash flow of this one. Okay. Any other questions? Good. Okay. 23. In this case, we are asked to calculate the profitability index for project A. So we have a formula to do that. The profitability index will simply equals to the NPV of this project divided by the resources consumed. And the resources can be labor, can be capital, can be anything. Okay. So the key part here is calculate the NPV for project A with this information. Right? Okay, so the NPV in this case would equal to, you can use a financial calculator to do the calculation. The NPV would equal to 16.13857, and the resources consumed in this case is their initial investment 100, right? Divided by 100. So the correct answer is A. Okay, it's just the formula. Profitability simply equals to NPV divided by the resources consumed. All right, the last one. Which of the following situation can lead to internal rate of return giving different decisions than NPV? Actually, all of them would may have different decisions than NPV, right? So the correct answer is D. Okay. So I finished all the questions. Do you still have any question?
What was the equation for the profitability index?
The equation for this one? Okay, so the profitability index will simply equals to the NPV. You need to calculate the NPV, then divided by the resources consumed, right? The resources consumed. NPV, you need to calculate that. Resources consumed for project A is $100, right? This $100.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, good. Go over question 2 again. Okay, question 2. Question 2. Oh, question 2 is similar to question 1, right? Question 2 is similar to question 1. We already know the API.